Martin arrived at the fancy restaurant believing he still had the life he once enjoyed, wealth, security, and status. But everything shattered when his card was declined. The waiter tried again, but every attempt failed. Jessica, the woman he was dining with, instantly distanced herself, refusing to help. She mocked him, humiliated him, and eventually left him to face the consequences alone. When the waiter threatened to call the police, Martin felt completely crushed. Then, unexpectedly, Sharon stepped forward. She had no obligation, no connection, no benefit, yet she chose empathy over judgment. She paid the bill quietly, not to impress him, but simply because she saw a human being in distress. At that moment, a small act of kindness created a bond neither of them saw coming. Sharon walked away thinking it was just a gesture. Martin, however, felt something shift inside him. Her kindness became the first warm light in the darkness he had been drowning in. This moment would eventually pull both of them into a story neither expected, a story where a bankrupt millionaire and a simple waitress would change each other's lives. After the dinner fiasco, Martin confesses he doesn't even have money for a taxi. Sharon hesitates for a moment. Taking a stranger home isn't something she normally does, but something about him seems broken yet sincere. She decides to offer him a ride. During the drive, silence fills the car, heavy with embarrassment and uncertainty. When they arrive at what used to be his luxurious home, they find the tax authorities already there, seizing his property. His fiancée shows up only to fight over belongings that weren't hers. Sharon watches as Martin argues, helpless, devastated, and betrayed. For the first time, she realizes how deeply his life has fallen apart. Still, she sees through the chaos. He isn't arrogant, he isn't entitled, he's lost. Completely. And she can't walk away. When he is forced out and left standing with nowhere to go, Sharon makes a decision that surprises even herself. She invites him to stay at her small, modest apartment. Her kindness becomes his only shelter on the worst night of his life. Martin moves into Sharon's humble apartment, a stark contrast to his former life of luxury. At first, everything feels awkward, their different worlds, their different lifestyles, and the strange speed at which life has brought them together. But slowly, the walls between them begin to dissolve. Martin reveals that he built his construction company from nothing, using skills no one expected a millionaire to have. He insists on helping around her apartment, fixing shelves, repairing old furniture, making the small space feel new again. Sharon watches him work, surprised by his determination and humility. Days turn into nights filled with quiet conversations, shared meals, and small laughs that neither expected. Sharon begins to feel safe with him, protected even. Martin feels something he hasn't felt in years, peace. Their connection deepens naturally, beautifully. They become each other's comfort, and the broken pieces inside them begin to mend. Sharon realizes she might be falling for a man with no money, only honesty, grief, and a genuine heart. And Martin realizes he has found the one person who didn't abandon him when everything fell apart. As their bond strengthens, Martin begins surprising Sharon with small acts of appreciation. He works hard every day, quietly trying to rebuild his life while making Sharon's world a little brighter. One evening, he asks her to close her eyes and leads her into a beautifully renovated space, her apartment transformed with care, effort, and genuine affection. But the biggest surprise comes later. He takes her to a restaurant, one she assumes is just a place he chose for dinner. But when she compliments the food, Martin reveals the truth: the restaurant belongs to him. It was the only business that survived his financial collapse, and he had kept it hidden until he could show her something meaningful. Sharon is overwhelmed, not because of the restaurant, but because he chose to share something personal, something important. Their attraction deepens, turning into something stronger, something neither can ignore. She begins to see him not as a bankrupt man, but as someone capable, resilient, and full of heart. Just when their relationship feels stable, old enemies return. Martin's ex-fiancée Jessica and his former best friend Zach are plotting to destroy him. They want to break into his safe and hide evidence that could clear Martin's name. Sharon accidentally overhears their plan. But before she can warn Martin, Jessica causes trouble at Sharon's workplace. The chaos leads to Sharon losing her job, one of the few things she depended on. Martin feels guilty and heartbroken, believing her life is falling apart because of him. Jessica and Zach corner Martin, threatening him, trying to intimidate him. But Martin refuses to hide anymore. He is ready to face the truth, even if it means losing everything again. Sharon enters at the right moment, standing by him despite her own losses. She chooses loyalty over fear, proving once again that her support isn't tied to wealth or status. This crisis becomes a turning point, their bond strengthens in the fire of betrayal. In the middle of the chaos, Martin reveals something important. The watch he gave Sharon the night they met was actually the key to his safe. She kept it, not for its value, but because it reminded her of him. Her honesty and loyalty move Martin deeply. Together, they open the safe and recover the evidence that clears his name. Suddenly, everything starts falling into place, his reputation, his freedom, and even his future. But the greatest moment comes when Martin finally tells Sharon the truth of his heart. He gently holds her and says the one thing he's been afraid to say: he never wants to let her go. Sharon realizes that her life has changed, not because she helped a millionaire, but because she found someone who loved her without conditions. In the end, the story proves one thing: love isn't measured by money, status, or success. It is measured by loyalty, kindness, courage, and the willingness to stand beside someone even in their darkest hour.